Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to my video on the Almighty One Season 5, my video on my own draft, my draft analysis video. I am Soulblaze, your host of this video. I'm a bit tired because I already recorded this video but it didn't record, so I have to do it again. But let's do it. Let's do it good this time, yeah? So welcome to the video. I might just post some content on the Almighty One Season 5. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'll post some content that's low effort or not, but we'll have to see about that as we go, right? Without further ado, let's get on with the team. This is the welcome to Lake Acuity. This is the setup I have right here. As the black box unveils, you'll see my team pick for pick. So let's get into it. First pick is Mew. Now, first of all, I forgot to talk about my seeding again. Seeding is where you get placed in a ranking, or not ranking. You get placed in a list of 16 people, in this case. So and the draft order goes in snake style. So it goes first all the way to 16th. It goes from 16th all the way to first, which means that being at the bottom, being number 16, is not that bad as you would think, because you get the pick for going all the way down. When it's your turn on the way down, you get the pick, and then it turns around, so you're the first pick after you just picked, which is called a wheel pick. So you basically get 2 picks every time you pick, which is not bad. So that means that being in the dead center is the absolute worst. Being 8th out of 16th is the worst possible thing you could have had. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was 12th, which is not good, but it's, you have to work with it. So first pick of mine is Mew, and for being 12th on that list, you would never guess that Mew was left to be open for me. And it's no surprise that this actually sniped someone. I don't remember exactly who it was. I think it was Zane, Baltimore Glass Orioles, who wanted to have this, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong. So I think he wanted that, but he forgot to drafted something else, and then it was open. It was open for me to take, and I would happily start off my draft as best as possible, because Mew is probably the singular best mon in draft. It can be paired to more teams than any other Pokemon because of its versatility and unpredictability. Single typing, no times for weakness. So far resists fighting and poison. 100 stats across the board. Access to every technical machine in the game, which means that it has access to almost every move in the game. At least a move of every typing in the game. So it's really strong, and Synchronize is not a bad ability either. It makes it so that if this Pokemon gets status, like let's say Paralyzed from Thunder Wave, Burned from Will-O-Wisp, Spored from Sent to Sleep from Spore, Frozen by Ice Beam, or Poisoned, that status gets transferred over to the mon over to the opposite side of the field, to my opponent. So that's really good. It can be bulky, it can set up and sweep, is a fantastic Z move user, so that's really good. I forgot to mention that this draft is free Z. Most people, we had a vote on it, and most people wanted to have free Z moves, no restrictions, no like only this Pokemon can use Z moves, or only this Pokemon can use offensive Z move. So every Pokemon can use what kind of Z move they want, except for Z moves that boost evasiveness, or lowers accuracy for that matter, or Z moves that are Omni Boost, which makes it so that you gain a +1 in every stat. Those are banned, but aside from that, I can use everything else. So Mew Z is banned, unfortunately, but that's cool. Next up, we have the Landorus Incarnate, and this is a very underrated Pokemon in my opinion, right? Because this is not the first time around you come to a video of mine and you see me drafting Landorus I drafted it in the PDLR video, which you've probably seen, which I really like. So it's on that team, which makes it pretty strong, and it's on my last season of TAO. It's on the same squad. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, I have to do this again. Let's see. Oh! Times 4 weakness to ice, which isn't really covered yet. Now I have 2 resistance to fighting, and it resists the bug typing that Mew's weak to. Is also, I can also deal with poison types pretty well because I have a psychic type and a ground type. This is really strong. Now let me talk about the abilities real quick. So Sheer Force, its hidden ability, as you can see, it's banned, because if that's allowed, then it's up among the greats. It's up with the legendaries. But since Sheer Force is banned, it's actually usable. Its only ability is Sand Force, which increases its strength in Sandstorm, increases the strength of ground type moves, rock type moves, and steel type moves by 1.3. Now, since it's free Z, I'm able to use Z Sandstorm as a move, which increases my speed by 1.5, along with setting up Sandstorm, which activates Sand Force. So that's really good. I've used it in the past. Sweet material. It wall breaks hard as damn. So it can be physical. It can be special. You can run like Earthquake Stone Edge, or you can run like Earth Power, Psychic Hidden Power Z, or you can run like Earth Power Sludge Wave, Hidden Power Z. Did I say that? Hidden Power. I just meant Hidden Power. So it's really good. Underrated ground type by far. 101 speed is a really niche speed that makes it at max speed being able to outspeed base 100s. So it's you have like bad niche speed, like 79 for example, because it does now speed 80, and you have like good niche speed, which is base 108. No 108, 101, right? Because it barely outspeeds base 100s, but it has to be max speed though. So, yep, that's that. And there was one more thing I was going to talk about with this. Yes, this was actually one of my last picks. This should not be here in tier 2. It should actually be switched with the tier 2 mon that was taking points from. Because when I drafted this was actually one of the few ground types that was left. And since it's so underestimated and no one wants to use this, it actually gets left up to the end. And comparing this ground type with the ground types that were left, I have to say that this is the absolute best choice I could have made for my team. Only thing that sucks is that times 4 weakness size. Let's move on. Cobalion. Now, being a bulky offensive type user, a type style player, I like to use things that hit hard and can take a hit. Now, this steel typing resists a lot of things. It only has 3 weaknesses, and it resists normal types, grass types, ice types, bug types, rock types. Bug type and rock by 4 instead of 2. It resists dragon, which is very crucial. Resists dark, which is also very good, and resists steel. Dark dragon steel, being able to resist all those 3 is amazing. So it resists those. It's dual typing with no times 4 weakness, so along with fighting and steel, it can hit fairy type super effectively. It can hit normal type super effectively. It can hit ice type super effectively with both moves. It can hit rock type super effectively, bug type super effectively, fire types not super effectively. I thought rock types. Okay, so. Yeah, it can hit a lot of things hard, and it has poison immunity as well. And with the ability Justified, it makes it so that if it's hit by dark type move that it already resists, it gets a +1 attack boost on top of being 108 speed, which is really good, having 130 defense, which is very good. It's a steel type, and having decent defenses of an attack stat. So it's a very good mon, very highly contested in tier 3. This Pokemon was on my UU team when I climbed the ladder back in the day. When I climbed the ladder really high, I think. It was on my team, and it was a lead set, which was really good. It's the common Smogon lead set, I think, with a few adjustments. So it was Stealth Rocks. Everything I've listed so far has access to Stealth Rocks, by the way, if you wondered. So it has Stealth Rocks. It is a fast taunter. It's a really good taunter. So it had taunt on there. Is a really good close combat user. I can use close combat or Iron Head, which is really strong, both of them. And then last but not least, it gets access to Volt Switch, which is really crucial. Because Volt Switch gives me momentum with Landorus U-turn and Mew if I want to use U-turn or Volt Switch on there. I believe Mew learns both because Volt Switch and U-turn is a TM. So yeah, that's really cool. Actually, having that synergy right there. And being 108 speed for a Steel type is really strong. It makes you being able to hit so hard. So it's a really good Pokemon like that. I'm excited to use it. It's the first time I'm using it, but it's a welcome aboard. We'll see. We'll reap the benefits of this Pokemon really well. I'm excited. Next up is Dragalge. Dragalge has a beautiful design. It's a Pokemon that I've been wanting to use for such a long time. I love this Pokemon. It has a times 4 resistance to grass, weak to a couple of things, which you'll see me cover pretty good later. This is what actually the first Pokemon of my defensive core, as you can see. And originally, this was not on my draft. I have to be honest. My draft had Toxapex, Cobalion, Kyurem was my plan. Toxapex got sniped, Cobalion I got, and Kyurem I traded away because Kyurem stacked way too many weaknesses with the rest of the team. Because Cobalion is weak to fighting, Kyurem is weak to fighting, Cobalion is weak to fire, Kyurem doesn't resist fire, so on and so forth, right? So I didn't want to, because Kyurem is very strong raw power, 130 in both attack and 95 speed. It's really strong, but it has so many holes it can be punched through. So I didn't want that this time. I chose to go for the poison type Dragalge instead. I can cover my. You can see Cobalion and Dragalge, I believe. Cobalion as well. I believe. Yeah, they're both weak to ground, which Landorus is immune to, but it's still something, right? They're both weak to ground. Which is not that good, but this is the dragon type that hits hard like a truck, and it's bulky as damn too. A 123 special attack, you don't mess with that, and its defense, decent defense as well. Let's talk about the abilities real quick before I move on. Poison Point is an ability that makes it so that if an enemy move makes contact with this Pokemon, aka being a physical move, that hits on my defensive side, which is my weaker side, which I can invest in to make my stronger side, by the way. It has a 30% chance of poisoning the enemy Pokemon, which is good. I can have Poison Touch, which makes it so that my moves that make contact with the enemy, I believe, has a 30% chance of poisoning. And then the last ability, which is the best ability, arguably, adaptability. It's a really strong ability that increases my same type attack bonus, which means that if something is the same type as the attack it's using, it gets 50%, that the power of the move gets 50% boosted. So in this case, being a poison type, if I use a poison type move, it's 50% stronger than what it would be like if it was a non-poison type Pokemon using the same move. Same thing with Dragon. So, instead of being boosted by 50%, adaptability increases the multiplier from 1.5 to 2.0, 2 times instead of 1.5, which is really strong. So my Draco Meteors, which already hit crazy hard, or my Sludge Bombs, which has a 30% chance of poisoning as well, are gonna be increased in power. Really strong. Also can do some fun things with Skull Burns, and the main reason I wanted Dragalge over Kyurem is Toxic Spikes. Now let me tell you about Toxic Spikes, because Toxic Spikes are in my opinion very underrated hazard. It's flexible, being able to, if it's one layer of spikes, no Toxic Spikes, then it gives the opponent regular poison, which is like it takes a certain amount of HP each turn. That never changes. It takes a certain amount. It takes 1/8 of the enemy HP each turn, I think. And then you have 2 spikes, 2 layers of Toxic Spikes, which makes it so it gives it toxic poison. So regular poison is good against mons that don't have recovery, so they just gets chipped away at really fast, and then they die. Two layers of toxic spikes is really good against Pokemon that wants to set up and has access to recovery. So let's say like let's say like oh my god, I don't have a Reuniclus without Magikarp. Because man, bad example, but you get what I mean. Magikarp makes it so it can only take damage from direct attacks, so it doesn't take damage from toxic spikes. But let's say it's a regenerator set, right? Regenerator is really good. So regenerator setup, which is not what you want to do, but never mind. Toxic's that Reuniclus, and even though it uses recover, the toxic damage will increase over time, so it doesn't do just 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. It does like 1/16, 1/12, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2 whole, or something like that. It increases by each turn. So even if you recover off the normal poison damage, then you're always going to have a little HP left over that you can manage with. But if it's toxic poison, you can out heal it at the start, but once it increases to a certain point, then recover is not going to recover enough HP for you to live it anymore. So it's a really flexible thing, and having a poison type on my team is really crucial, because although, as you can see, my team isn't particularly weak to toxic spikes, it's actually the opposite, the other way around. Mew takes that toxic and transfers it to the enemy, as well as keeping it on itself, because the ability to synchronize. Landorus doesn't get affected by toxic spikes because it's a flying type that flies above every hazard that's not stealth rocks, because it's a rock type hazard. Cobalion is immune to poison, as we covered, so it makes it so that it can be toxic or regular poison. And Dragalge is a poison type, which means that if it switches in on toxic spikes, it absorbs the toxic spikes, makes it be gone, because that's what poison types do. It's a very unique thing, and it also gives me 100% accurate toxics instead of 90%, because when toxic is used, the move is used by a poison type, its usual 90% accuracy is increased to 100. So there it is. Now next up is Hariyama. Hariyama is a really interesting Pokemon that I want to talk about. I love this Pokemon because now I already have a fighting type, but this is a bulky monster that does a lot of damage. And with the help of the Thick Fat ability, my Cobalion's fire weakness and my Landorus and Dragalge ice weakness is now resisted instead of neutral, because thick fat, right? Your fat is thick, so yeah. So fire and ice is resisted. If not for fire and ice resisting, then it would be the same thing, just fire and ice being neutral. So it resists Mew's bug type weakness. It can handle rock pretty well. It's weak to fairy, which Cobalion can cover. So there's that. Now there's two stats on this Pokemon that are really massive, as you can see. It's HP at 144 and its attack at 120. Nothing to scoff at. This has access to a lot of great, or not a lot, but some great priority moves like Fake Out Bullet Punch, and it hits like a truck. It's free Z, so I can use Z Belly Drum if I want to. This is one of the original Belly Drum users, so I can use Z Belly Drum if I want to. Give me +6 attack, and then if I'm low on HP, Z Belly Drum gives me full HP and then takes half of that HP to give me +6 attack, which is really good. I can run it with the Guts set. Guts is an ability that takes burns. Whenever I'm statused, I gain 1.5 attack, and you don't want to paralyze yourself, because paralysis has a chance to make you not move for that turn, and it lowers your speed even more. You don't want to sleep yourself, because then you can't move. You don't want to freeze yourself, because then you can't move. You don't want to poison yourself, because then you just keep on taking damage. So you can regular poison yourself, I guess, but don't toxic yourself, because that damage is going to increase fast. So the most optimal one is burn. And you would think like burn. Well, doesn't burn cut your attack stat in half? Well, it would do that, but it's guts. Guts negates that burn effect, and gives you the power of the ability. 1.3 times boost to your attacks, I think. Or you can use Sheer Force, which we already talked about being banned on Lander's Eye, which, or I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's banned ability that takes away the second effect of a move and gives it a 1.3 attack boost instead. So what that does is what was I gonna say? So let's say I use Fire Punch, right? Fire Punch is a move that does damage, 75 base, physical fire type attack move, with a 10% chance of burning your enemy opponent. But Sheer Force removes that 10% chance of burning the opponent and gives you a 1.3 times attack boost instead, which is nice, but it doesn't work on every move. So either you run the gut set and you chip away your health, or you run Sheer Force and there are certain moves that don't get boosted. So it's up to you what you want to do. Or you can run Thick Fat, the bulky variant, also a very good assault vest user. Since the two high stats on this are already so high, you have the luxury of investing good in your defenses to make sure that your mediocre defense actually gets good. So it's a really cool mod, and it looks cool as well. Just a cool sumo wrestler kind of. Yeah. All right. Next up we have Leavanny. Now Leavanny is drafted for one thing and one thing only, and you can probably guess what that is. It's sticky webs. I already talked about this in my PDLR draft. The difference is in that draft, sticky web was the central theme of my team. This time it's not the central theme, but it's still present as a feature that I can use. So yeah, I also forgot to mention Hariyama is a great Z move user as well. Leavanny with sticky web makes it so that when people switch in on sticky web, which is a hazard, when people switch into it, their 1/3 of their speed is cut, of their total speed is cut. So if something is choice scarf, then it reduces the speed of the choice scarf. Not all the way, because scarf is 1.5, but it removes 1/3 of that total speed, which is good, which is really good. So the faster I'm on is, the slower it's gonna be. So sticky web is good. Aside from that, it brings a ×4 fire type weakness, which is not good, and a ×4 flying type weakness, which is not good compared with Hariyama. And Cobalion is weak to fire, but Dragalge resists fire. Landorus can handle fire pretty well. It also brings a ice type weakness that's bad for Landorus and Dragalge, but Hariyama can, with Thick Fat, resists ice and fire. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, Dragalge resists fire. Yeah, so it's weak to bug, as Mew is, and it's weak to poison, which Cobalion is immune to. Hariyama, I believe, resists, and I believe, does it? No, it does not. It does not. It does not. Okay, so Dragalge and Cobalion resists poison or is immune to it. Landorus is a ground type, which can deal with it, and Mew's a psychic type, which can deal with it. So my poison type weakness is pretty covered in that sense. And my rock type weakness is also pretty covered. So it brings a lot of weaknesses, but brings sticky web, and 92 speed with 103 attack is not bad. So if it's the focus sash set, which leaves me on 1 HP if the move was to be fatal on me, instead of killing me, it leaves me at 1 HP. It has to be full HP to work, but it leaves me at 1 HP. I get up the sticky web. I can sack this off. I can let it die, so that my sticky web is up on the opponent's side. I get a free switch into something, and but Leavanny is dead. You know, so and my swarm is activated on the last turn as well. So if I outspeed the thing that wants to kill me, swarm activates at the range of 1/3 of my HP and lower. So at 1 HP, swarm is active, which gives me a 1.5 attack, 1.5 power boost to my bug type moves which are already stab. So I hit like a truck at low HP. Or I can run Chlorophyll, which is uncommon on this set, but it's still a thing I can do. So I can run something like Sunny Day, which makes it so that the fire types move. If I get hit by a fire type move, let's be honest, I'm dead as it is. So increasing the strength of fire type moves does not matter that much in terms of Leave Any's case. So I can set up the Sunny Day, increase fire type moves, but activate Chlorophyll, which increases my speed by 2.0, which it doubles my speed. So that's something I can do. Or I can run the Overcoat ability, which if I run the Landorus Sandstorm set, I can make it so that I have Overcoat and don't take damage from my own Sandstorm, so I still have Focus Sash intact to take a hit with. It removes damage from negates damage from Sandstorm and Hail. I don't have Hail right now. I can use Hail if I want to, but because Mew learns it, but I don't have anything that synergizes with it yet. So I can do that, and it actually negates the effect of spore themed moves, such as Spore, which is already negated by being a grass type. I can negate Stun Spore, Poison Powder, and Sleep Powder, and Rage Powder, and stuff like that. So they're uncommon moves, but negated nonetheless. So that's why Leave Any is here, more of a supportive pick. Next up, we have my Mega. And I chose Mega Aerodactyl for this pick. This was my second pick, by the way, after Mew. So Mega Aerodactyl is a Pokemon with such a colossal speed that something has to be Choice Scarfed or boosted to 1.5 speed to outspeed it. It's that crazy. Because if you don't have that, you're basically getting outsped and getting hit by a Tough Claws boosted Aerial Ace, which is already stab. So Tough Claws boosts my power of contact moves by 1.5, and Aerial Ace is stab with flying type move at base 60, so you can take 60 and amplify by 1.3, and then it hits with 135 base, which is really strong. Now as you can see, 4 weaknesses, which is Sadness. It's weak to water as Landorus is, weak to ice as Dragalge is, and it's weak to steel, which I can cover pretty well, and it's weak to rock, which I can cover pretty well, but weak nonetheless. So its defenses are not that bad actually. Special defense at 95 makes it able to, if you invest some in it, it can actually tank some surprising moves. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. It's a thing. So it's insanely fast and it hits hard. That's what this thing is all about. If something is at base 85 or above and Choice Scarfed, it outspeeds Mega Aerodactyl at max speed at 438, as you can see. I believe if it's below base 85 speed and Choice Scarfed, it does not outspeed Mega Aerodactyl. So either something has to be base 85 or above and Choice Scarfed, or base 85 and above at +1 speed, or you happen to have a Ninjask on your side or something, which is base 160, but Ninjask is trash because it can't, because baton passing is only you're only allowed to pass speed by itself or pass on other stats by themselves. You can't pass other stats and speed, but you can pass speed by itself or other stats by themselves, or other stats combined with other stats that are not speed. So Mega Aerodactyl, really strong line. It's a Mega Tier 2. Megas are listed into 3 tiers: Mega Tier 1, Mega Tier 2, Mega Tier 3. And if you're Mega Tier 1, nothing happens. You just get the Mega. If you're Mega Tier 2, you actually get 40 drafting points on top of your original 400 points you have to draft off of. Hence why it says minus numbers instead of T1, T2, T3, and so on. Because I'm using points for those Pokemon later on. So I get plus 40 for choosing a Mega Tier 2. And my first Pokemon that I'm drafting with points is Tier 3 Rotom. Rotom H is a really good Pokemon due to its ability to levitate. Usually Electric Fire are both weak to ground, which makes ground a 4 times weakness, but levitate negates the effects of ground type moves. So unless I stumble upon something that happens to have Mold Breaker, which negates levitate, then I'm immune to ground moves, which is insane. Insane ability. Very good stats, as you can see. Very bulky. This is actually the second part of my defensive core. It has access to pain split, so we can survive. So we can stay. It's some form of recovery at least. It's something, right? So I can pain split my way up to the top. Access to Will-O-Wisp and Thunder Wave, which is really good. Will-O-Wisp burns the opponent. Thunder Wave paralyzes the opponents, or I can run Toxic, which poisons the opponents. So it has access to all the 3 status moves, the common status moves, and it has access to Overheat since it's the Rotom Oven form. So Overheat is the one fire move I have. I can also run HP Fire if I want to, so that's cool. That's cool in that sense, right? Yes, and it brings a lot of resistances to the table that I need. I need a fire resist, which I have, which it is. I need an ice resist, which it is. This resists steel by ×4, which is awesome. Resists fairy, which is good for later. Which is good for my Hariyama, for example. And it resists flying, which is also good for Hariyama Leavanny. It only has 2 weaknesses in water and rock, so paired with the grass type of Leavanny, for example, is actually really good because Leavanny is super effective against water and rock. So that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. The only thing that sucks is it has the same water type weakness as Landorus Eye does, but it's covered by Dragalge, and you'll see me cover it better later as well. So that's Rotom for you. Really cute comfort pick. Next up, I drafted Whimsicott, and Whimsicott is a mon I've been using to want, actually, wanting to use for the longest time. So this draft, I'm actually going back to comfort and adding some picks that I would like to try out to see their effectiveness, see how good I'm with them, and try them out. Because if you saw my PDLR draft video, I actually drafted a lot of stuff that I've never used before, and it's a different style that I'm not used to. It was centered around sticky webs, which is cool. It had like a theme. This team doesn't really have a theme. It's just a lot of good things put together and efficiently. So Whimsicott is pretty cool. It's a really good, underrated and good supportive mon for its tier. It has insane speed. Doesn't pack the hardest of punches, but it has a lot of supportive options due to its ability Prankster. Prankster makes it so that your supportive moves that are not damaging, such as Taunt, Defog, Taunt to make the opponent makes so the opponent has to attack you. Defog removes hazards. Tailwind doubles my entire team speed for 4 turns. Memento gives the opponent -1/-1 and attack and special attack, and trading off my Whimsicott for it. It dies that turn. Also a great Z user. It can use a lot of these supportive moves with Z, which is really cool. So it's a really good mon. 116 speed, really fast. Prankster makes it even faster. Immunity to Dragon. It has that ×4 weakness to poison, but either it forces something to run HP poison, or it it's weak to steel, and same as Megarodactyl, but Rotom Heat can cover it, and my 2 fighting types can cover it as well, so that's cool. And my Landorus can cover it since it's a ground type, so good coverage. The other ability is Infiltrator, which ignores Substitute. Substitute is a move that that trades 25% of your health for a decoy that has that same amount of HP and the same resistances, but it forces you to attack the substitute before you attack the mon behind it. Infiltrator ignores substitute and just attacks the mon right behind it, so it makes it so that substitute just takes 25% damage of the enemy, and you can hit it from there. Chlorophyll already talked about double speed in sunlight. I'm weak to fire, so it's not the best idea, but it's something, right? So that's pretty cool. And then next up we have Tapu Lele, and you wouldn't expect Tapu Lele on this draft because I've already showed you a fairy type in Whimsicott right here. Already showed you Whimsicott. and you think, what's the next, right? And I show you Tapu Lele, and you're like, another fairy type. Doesn't that add the same weaknesses? Yes, well, but actually no. It's also weak to poison and also weak to steel. But being a psychic type, it can cover its own poison weakness. It's not weak to dark because psychic is weak to dark, but fairy is resistant to dark, so it cancels out. Weak to ghost, same as Mew, but I believe ghost types aren't the most threatening thing to my team, so I believe I can handle that. And steel types already told you pretty well covered on that front, so the only thing excuse me. The only thing is that I don't have access to the ability Psychic Surge, as you can see on the right there. I don't have access to that. It's banned because Psychic Surge set up Psychic Terrain. And Psychic Terrain boosts Psychic type moves, I think. It actually, or at least it makes it so that priority moves cannot be used by Pokemon affected by the terrain. So if you're flying, that's fine, you can use priority. Or if you're levitating, that's fine, you can use priority. But if you're on the ground, on the terrain, if you're standing on the terrain, you cannot use priority. And that works for my side and the opponent's side. But it makes Tapu Lele a really potent threat because you have to outspeed it to be able to manage with it, because it hits so hard in psychic terrain. Because you can't kill it with priority. So there's that. It's a great Z move user, and I can use Z psychic terrain if I want to. Set up that same psychic terrain. Give the Z move of it gives me +1 special attack, so it's just the same bonus I would get as if I was choice specs, but unlike choice specs that locks me into only using one move and one move only until I switch out and switch in again. The Z move just gives me that same boost, and I can use whatever move I want. So I'm not locked in anything, which is pretty crazy. So that's cool. Hits like a truck. Very hard to. Don't underestimate this. It's actually one of the strongest Pokemon in its tier. So I'm very excited to be using this on my team. Now let's see where it goes from here. Last but not least, we have Vaporeon. Classic Pokemon, evolution, straight from red, blue, yellow. Water Absorb gives me immunity to water types. This is the third Pokemon of my defensive core. Dragalge, Rotom Heat, and Vaporeon, they synergize insanely well, and I'm about to show you why. So, Vaporeon is my heal beller, it's my wish support, gives me Skull Burns, gives me Toxics. I believe it gets Haze as well. I don't remember off the top of my head, I think it does. So, it's really good in that sense. But that water immunity is really crucial, because Dragalge resists water, Rotom is weak to water, and Vaporeon is immune to water. So that's cool. Dragalge is weak to ice, Rotom resists ice, and Vaporeon resists ice. All three of them resist fire. Rotom resists steel, Vaporeon resists steel for my double fairy. Dragalge resists poison for my double fairy. Rotom resists poison for my double fairy. Vaporeon is only weak to electric and grass, which Rotom resists electric and grass, and Dragalge resists electric and grass, which is amazing. Rotom is weak to rock types, which is covered by my Landorus being ground, my Cobalion being steel and fighting, my Hariyama being fighting, my Whimsicott and Leavanny being grass, and Vaporeon in itself being a water type. So it's insanely how well they synergize in terms of when I looked at them. They may not be the bulkiest, but Vaporeon is often used as a physical defensive threat, although it doesn't seem like it on paper. Rotom Heat can be physically defensive, and Dragalge is most likely special defensive, but can be physically defensive, so I can tweak and turn them to my liking. But my defensive core actually offers a lot of goodies on the resistances side, so that's cool. It offers a ground immunity, which Dragalge is weak to, and I have Vaporeon is a water type, which can deal with that. and it's also the ice resist is very nice for my Landorus, and it is very nice for my Jugouge. It's very nice for my Leavanny and Whimsicott and Mega Aerodactyl. So that's insane how well this synergizes. And this is my team for TAO Season 5. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me just have this open so you can look at it like this. Yeah, I want to wish everyone in our new season of TAO, if you're old, if you're a returning player, or even if you're a newcomer, I do wish you best of luck in the season. Although if you're battling me, I don't wish you luck in our battle. I wish you unluck. Other than that, I want to thank you so much for watching. I will also subscribe to stay tuned to see if I actually upload some content off of this. I'm not gonna upload the same insane 3-hour team builds that I did with the TAO off season, but I might just team build for 3 hours anyway, and maybe I record it, or maybe I don't, and maybe I record the recap of it when I'm done and then the battle, or whatever. We'll figure something out. The one thing I do know is that I want the content to be casual and not take a lot of time, because I'm busy with other stuff. I'm in 3 leagues right now, so I don't have time to make it all fancy and stuff, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best with it. So thank you so much for watching. This has been my draft. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.